There's another group chat fiasco.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just curious as to what happened in this one.
This time it's ice.
Oh, the ice. So, have you seen the newest episodes of South Park?
I have not.
Okay.
I've seen clips of the first one.
So you've seen how, like, okay, so you haven't seen how hard they dig at ice, because that's in the second episode.
Correct.
Okay. I was gonna say, with how little they actually train their agents in any amount of, like, decorum or anything, the least I would expect is that there would be a group chat fiasco involving ice.
Yeah. Wait, they train them?
That's the joke.
Okay.
That's the joke. Mr. Mackey becomes an ICE agent, and in the interview, they just go, okay, well, why do you want to work for ICE? He's like, well, I need money. And they just hand him a gun, and they're just like, all right, your next raid's in 10 minutes.
I mean, that sounds accurate. Yeah, so this was sent to me by my anonymous source. So, ICE has joined the Trump cabinet in the group chat disaster club. They accidentally added a stranger to their group chat, exposing highly sensitive information about a manhunt. Now, in this case, they were actually looking for someone who is a convicted murderer. So, like, for the first time in their history, they were going after an actual criminal.
Yeah, but why is ICE doing it and not the police?
Good question. I still say, even though this is someone that probably should be behind bars, still maybe abolish ICE.
Yeah, why is that the job of the ICE agents? Why is that not the job of a
because he is foreign, so they are going to deport him. So it sort of falls within their turf, but it should still.
So the police pick him up and then they process him afterwards. Why the fuck are ICE agents involved?
I will not justify the existence of ICE. Okay, I will say that, like, as long as they do exist, this does kind of fall within their jurisdiction of what they are supposed to be, but they should not be.
Yeah, but so does a shotgun kiss.
You need a beat button, Suris.
You're right. That was an inside thought, much like the pellets rattling around an ICE person's skull.
Oh, Suris, what am I going to do with you?
Your best.
We've been getting spicy lately. A lot of my clips of the streams have not been able to monetize.
I feel like some of that's my fault. I apologize.
Oh, some of that is absolutely my fault. Yeah.
See, that's weird because all of mine have monetized.
Well, some of it is stuff that, like, I think YouTube has gotten slightly better about this, but you know how, like, your rating accuracy is high for self-report monetization stuff?
Yeah.
But then if there's like one discrepancy, then suddenly it goes from high to low, like there is no medium.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot harder to get stuff monetized if your accuracy is low. So in this case, what happened was it was the one where we were talking about child porn a lot.
I feel like maybe you should contextualize that right now before that gets clipped.
We were talking about people possessing it and being bad people and should go to prison for a very long time for that.
Okay.
It just so happened to be a Trump supporter. But yeah, that clip is not monetized because, the subject matter. And I am not challenging that because I'm like, I feel like that is fairly clear within their things. Like, yeah, I rated it yes, we talked about sexual stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to disagree that one is probably not one that advertisers want to be on. Unless you're advertising to the right wing.
I feel like, and this is just maybe jaded YouTuber me, I feel like I don't care what the advertisers want. I know that technically, because of my job on YouTube, I have to a degree. But, like, I also feel, generally speaking, like, that's just not something that I became a YouTuber to give a shit about.
Yeah. No, I definitely do not script my videos with that in mind when I do scripted videos. And the live streams, I'm actually surprised as many of them are monetized as they are. But anyway, back to the article.
Yay!
The ICE messages, which discuss an active search for a convicted attempted murderer slated for deportation, were sent via MMS or multimedia messaging services and were not end-to-end encrypted like messages on Signal or WhatsApp. So this is less secure than Pete Hegseth's chat group. And they texted him and they texted this person a field operations worksheet and revealed detailed information about the person that they were hunting, including their social security number and DMV and license plate data.
It's all kinds of shit they should not have been sharing in the first place.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And the person that got these messages has remained anonymous for, their own personal safety. They don't trust that they will be safe if they reveal who they are.
I wouldn't trust that I'd be safe if I did. I would expect that I'd be disappeared. And
Yeah.
we know our government has disappeared people, and we know that they can do it even easier now.
Yep.
Because now Trump can just be like, it was a executive thing. It was a thing that I needed to do.
What outlet was this leaked to? It was originally published on 404 Media.
Jesus Christ.
So they assumed that the messages they were getting from ICE were actually spam messages until they started getting the worksheet and the license plate numbers and stuff.
At that point, you're just like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, and then they went to the media and was like, hey, I think I'm in an ICE group. I don't want to be in an ICE group. That sounds bad.
I don't want to be responsible for deporting my fellow Americans.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I just want to know, like, how do they find people to work for them? Like, everybody fucking hates them.
So
They're despised nearly universally.
So the way it happened in the South Park episode, which, is not exactly the most accurate way that you could portray anything, but the way that it happened in the South Park episode was Mr. Mackey got fired from his job, and ICE was offering like a $50,000 signing bonus. And they were offering...
They employ violent racists. Next question.
I mean, that too. But like,
yeah.
The real reason is that people need a job, and people will always fall back to, I'm just doing my job. Like, the entire episode is Mr. Mackey going like, I'm sorry, but I've got a nut. I got a nut, which is just shorthand for I've got a job. Or I've got
Ramo 10 says be an out-of-work actor. Is that by any chance a dig at Dean Cain?
I think it's a dig at Dean Cain. Imagine being Superman and fucking trying to deport people.
You know what's funny about that? Is that, like, one of the big controversies surrounding the new Superman movie is that he doesn't say truth, justice, and the American way. He says something like truth, justice, and something about humanity or something. I don't know. I don't
doesn't
remember
have
what
a fucking quote. That's not.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a quote. I've seen the movie.
Yeah. But what's funny about that is that Dean Cain's iteration of Superman also did not say truth, justice, and the American way. He just said truth and justice. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of funny that the right-wing douchebag Superman also did not say the American way.
Right-wing.
Because, hey, as it turns out, when you're marketing your movie to more countries than just the one, making it sound like it's all about just the one is not a good idea.
It's also just the fact that, like, the truth, justice, and the American way thing has not been an aspect of Superman's character for a really long time. As
Sakura is pointing out, apparently most versions of Superman didn't say it. It didn't show up until the Cold War, and it went away shortly after the Cold War.
Like, the only point behind that statement now for a lot of Superman writers is to pick apart the statement. A lot of Superman writers will just let that statement be a thing that is utilized in their medium because they can pick it apart a lot. Like Frank Miller, for all of his faults, and he's got a lot. He's got a weird sense of how to write Batman and Superman. But when he was writing Superman for Dark Knight Returns, one of the things that he did was he made Superman basically a stooge of Ronald Reagan. And one of the things that Ronald Reagan wanted Superman to do was to go kill Batman. And Superman was like, yep, I will do that, sir. Thank you for giving me a job, Mr. Presidente. Like, it was really, really weird. And it was a critique on, like, it literally was just a critique on that version of Superman. We don't need truth, justice, and the American way Superman. We need a Superman closer to Red Sun Superman who looks at his country and goes, I can be better than this. I can be a standard that people can aspire to. So
I was actually just going to bring up Red Sun Superman. Have you seen Ben Shapiro's review of the Superman movie?
I have not. I should have done a video on it shortly after I watched the movie myself, and I didn't, and I'm kicking myself for it.
So Ben Shapiro, in his review of the Superman movie, brings up the Red Sun Superman and says that because he wasn't raised in America, he was evil Superman in that one.
But that's not what happened in that
That
story.
Is not what happened in Red Sun Superman. Not even close.
No, the point of Red Sun Superman was to say that Superman is still a good person no matter where he is born.
Ben Shapiro did not get that. I don't think Ben Shapiro read it. He just read Communist Superman and was like, that must be evil, because communism bad. Either that or he's just doing that thing that he does where he is putting up a stink, knowing that it will generate views and clicks and shit.
God, I wish I could lie for money.
Yeah, it'd be so much easier. Olivia Williams says, about Dean Cain, it's ironic that he's half Japanese and his dad was a migrant. Yeah, he joined ICE, but his father would have been his father was put in an internment camp by the equivalent of ICE. Like if I recall correctly, his father was actually in one of the internment camps. So like the fact that he is now joining ICE is just super messed up. But yeah, no, Shapiro is... That was actually... So that lying for money is something that I was just discussing with my partner earlier today. As one... I forget how it came up. But it was something about, like, you know, how someone could hold these beliefs that are very clearly wrong. And part of it was, like, you don't necessarily need to hold these beliefs. You can just pretend, and it becomes really easy to shill to the right wing. Yep. And the example I gave was Dawkins, where it's like, yeah, no, he came out as kind of anti-trans, and then everybody who is not anti-trans pounced on him for it. And so he reacted by making a hard right turn. And part of grifting the right is you have to at least pay lip service to Christianity. So he says, I'm a cultural Christian now. Christianity is a fundamentally decent religion. Just ignore the thing where I wrote that the God of the Old Testament is the most unpleasant character in all fiction and the New Testament God is worse. But Christianity is decent.
I don't remember him doing that bit.
You don't remember that?
No, you'll have to send that to me.
Oh, I can show you the clip. I have the clip. Let me just add it to my fucking OBS. It'll be a minute.
Okay, because that just sounds so out of left field for somebody whose main writings basically say the opposite of that.
That's my point.
Because
I want to know.
Because I've read his books. I've read Dawkins, and one of the main criticisms he has is how religion shapes culture. Specifically,
well, he does say, like, it is in the context of comparing Christianity to Islam, but that doesn't really make it better, in my opinion.
No, not really.
I call myself a cultural Christian. I'm not a believer. But there's a distinction between being a believing Christian and being a cultural Christian. I
really?
Call myself a cultural Christian. I think it wouldn't matter if we substituted any alternative religion. That would be truly dreadful. If I had to choose between Christianity...
What?
Just you got 11 seconds left. Just let him finish.
...in Islam, I choose Christianity every single time. I mean, it seems to me to be a fundamentally decent religion. In a way that I think Islam is not.
Yeah.
So, what the hell, Dawkins? That's completely against everything that you used to write about. Can you imagine being Hitchens, right? Like, listening to that?
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Hitchens would have fallen down the right-wing rabbit hole as well.
I think Hitchens would do, too, because he was a very, like, he was a very anti-Islam person in general. So he would definitely choose Christianity as the lesser of two evils between the two. I understand that. But that being Dawkins' position, that literally just reads as grifting lip service. It does. That's just kind of gross.
100% that's what it is. He knows that he's lost the left, and in order to grift the right, you have to at least pay lip service to Christianity. So that's what he's doing. That's the same thing Jordan Peterson does. Jordan Peterson won't tell you that he's a Christian, but damned if he won't.
He's culturally Christian because he cleans his room, and that's why he's not depressed.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I've never seen a more depressed, divorced man.
Oh, Peterson? Is he divorced?
I don't think he's actually divorced, but like he really does radiate.
He's got divorced dad energy.
He radiates divorced dad energy. He really does.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Oh, speaking of energy and what energy people radiate and whatnot. So, Inspiring Philosophy did a video on me, which I'm in the process of responding to, and then they did another video on me because it was a 2-hour video to my one video.
Okay.
So no, like I cut their video up into 10 segments and I'm going to do them each individually. But he did another 2-hour video on just the first of the 10 segments. So like, I'm not gonna, if he does it one for everyone, I'm not dealing with that.
You've unlocked an infinite content machine.
I have, but in it, I haven't watched the whole thing because like it just got too obnoxious eventually. Like specifically when they got David Wood on, David Wood comes in and immediately he's like, "Vice Rhino, that's a stupid channel name. What kind of stupid name is that? Oh my God, this guy's shirt is ugly. Why would he dress like that?" And I was like, "Okay, fuck off." Like I'm a YouTuber. I have thick skin. You have to have thick skin, but like, really? I thought these guys were supposed to be taking the high road.
No, I don't think that they generally do. Like, okay, so there was a point in time where inspiring philosophy did generally take the high road.
I know, and that was the last time I paid attention to him, so I was very surprised to see this sort of behavior
like
on his part.
this version of him.
Yeah, it like he seems to have taken quite the turn.
Yeah, that's really weird to me because like while I haven't had personal one-on-one interactions, I've never had like an unpleasant experience adjacent to them.
So,
but that
so after their stream where they spent so much time dishing out personal insults, I did get an email from him inviting me on his channel.
But why would you willingly go onto the channel if that's the behavior that you've witnessed?
Yeah, I know he's going to call me a coward for ignoring him.
That's
but
that's like
I'm not
somebody
interested
getting
in that.
That's like somebody getting mad at you because you didn't talk something out with them after you witnessed them be an absolute fucking bellend to every single friend they have on the internet over something that they are then shown to be incorrect about 4 months later.
Yeah, and so my first video, I resisted the urge to make fun of Mike Jones for his squeaky, crackly voice that sounds like he's going through puberty all the time. And I feel like I can do that now. I feel like he's given me permission to take personal pot shots.
Yeah.
I'm probably still not going to do it in the main video, but I'll fucking do it here.
Why do we live in this timeline?
I don't know. That's just my off-topic tangent for the moment. I have many of those.
Is it really off-topic, though? Like,
I mean, we're talking about ICE right now, allegedly, so yes.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't think Mike Jones or David Wood are joining. Well, I mean, I could see David Wood being in ICE. I could absolutely see him being in there. Mike Jones, maybe.
Just trying to get rid of all these brown people, that's all.
Well, that was another thing he said in his videos, like when I was making the point that living life as a Christian, I was constantly worried about like the minutia of my everyday life and whether or not like this thing that is just a normal part of life was something that's going to offend God. Like, should I have a beer with dinner? I don't know. Some Christians say yes, some Christians say no. I should I'm going to see this movie. Oh, I guess I better check with the Dove Foundation before I go see this movie because I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to watch a movie that would make God mad. And when I was a Christian, there was this constant fear at the back of my mind, no matter what I was doing, that like I had to make sure that it's okay with God before I did it. And his response to that was basically like, yeah, well, it's even harder for atheists because like I find myself way more comfortable among, my fellow believers because I'm not worried that they're going to think that something that I said was racist. Like,
have you never met atheism as
what
unstoppable?
Racist things do you like to say in private that you're worried about the left wing thinking is racist, Michael? What racist things do you like to say? Because it's not hard to not be racist.
No, it's not difficult at all.
It's super easy. And even like there are times when I have been accidentally racist, but the way you avoid getting canceled over shit like that is by being willing to learn and grow. And like the key difference here is that the only option was like when it's what does God think? The only option is like choose between what different preachers say God thinks about something, and they will each have Bible verses supporting their thing.
And then they'll disagree.
And they will disagree. Like Mike and his co-host disagreed about medical assistance in dying in the very thing, and that was a question that came up. And it's like, okay, well, when I'm answering that question for myself, I don't need to worry about what God thinks there. I just need to worry about how it's affecting me and the people that I love. So like that's an extra worry that I don't have because of that. And Mike and the other guy disagreed about that point. So now the
But
person
they're
that asked
both
the question,
Christians, and they're both
like, what are they
arguing
supposed
about
to do?
what God says.
Yeah, like the person who asked the question, what are they supposed to do now?
Yeah, anytime you do the whole, it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what God thinks. Okay, that's cool. Can he speak up?
Yeah, and that's the thing. If I say something accidentally racist, then someone who takes offense to that, or maybe not even takes offense, but notices that it's accidentally, like if they tell me that, I can then be like, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you for letting me know. I'll keep that in mind in the future.
Yeah.
And so like, that's super, you can actually talk to the people that your actions and words affect.
Apparently, so I know that when I was at the Sonic convention, there was a person who I did offend on the topic of gender real quick because somebody messed up the gender of one of the people who was there, and they had said he instead of she, and I just kind of made the offhand comment of like, yeah, I saw boobies, so I assumed she. And then one person got like really, really up in arms about it, and I haven't actually seen somebody get super up in arms about that before. Usually that's the kind of thing that you see reserved for somebody says this is a woke person cringe compilation or some shit. You don't generally see it. But the easiest thing to do in that situation for me was just be like, you know what? You're right. It's not always the case that boobies means girl. You are correct. That was an assumption. Easiest thing for them to do would be to correct me.
And that's the thing. You can actually be corrected when you're talking about real people. But when it's God...
No, when it's God, you can't. There's no real way to be corrected at that point.
Johnny Bravo was talking about insults and taking pot shots at Mike Jones's voice. Is Mike Jones a fascist? Honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised.
I don't know if he is or not. I don't pay enough attention.
Yeah, I'm not going to assume that he is, but from what I've seen, it would not shock me. He does tend to... He does seem to have some right-wing tendencies.
I mean, most people who make content about being Christian tend to have right-wing tendencies, which is a weird thing. It's a weird phenomenon, because, like, you'd think there'd be a more eclectic set of politics there, but...
You'd think.
There's only a handful of people where that's actually the case for, if they're making content about being Christian specifically. I recognize that there are YouTubers who are Christian, who just are left-wing and are decent people. It's usually when they're making content specifically about being Christian that you've witnessed that phenomenon.
You know, I'm actually kind of sad that Capturing Christianity has seemed to have left apologetics behind in favor of, oh my god, this person was really possessed by a demon style content. Because, like, I mean, on the one hand, it's probably for the best that he's leaving apologetics behind because he was not good at it.
No.
But on the other hand, it's so much fun responding to him because he's not good at it. Like, I that's one of the redos that I did. This, I think it's next Monday is coming out, is one where he it's a question of why didn't everybody get made, like why didn't God make everybody in heaven? And his first point in that is like, okay, well, it's important to keep in mind here that questions aren't arguments. You're like, so fucking what, dude?
Yeah, what is
so fucking what?
What does that have
Answer
to do
the
with
goddamn
anything?
question. So, yeah. The best part about that video, in my opinion, is that later on, like he says, like, oh, you know, Jesus' sacrifice on the cross for us, it was the greatest act of love. If you can think of a greater act of love, put it down below in the comments. And someone in the comments was like, actually staying dead would have been a greater act of love than just dying for a weekend.
And then coming back, yeah.
Yeah, and Cameron's response to that, I shit you not, was to ask him, what is your argument that would be a greater act of love?
Because then you're staying around to take care of the person.
Okay, but that's what are your premises and conclusions, sirs? I can't talk about this unless you have premises and a conclusion. You can't just have a normal human conversation. It's got to be premises and conclusions. It's got to be structured as a formal logical argument,
Not everything
sirs.
needs to be a fucking syllogism, you dweeb!
No, a syllogism only has two premises, but some arguments can have more than two.
I don't
I'm
give
technically
a
correct,
shit.
the best kind of correct.
My answer to that
I'm
is...
so correct, my hat flew off!
My answer to that is I don't give a shit, nor do I have to.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
Like,
but
there's
Cameron does, and
like-
it's funny to make fun of him for that.
There's a reason why I left the Philosobro in, like, debate sphere. One of them is my poor memory. I cannot do debates, especially when it's debates about, like, somebody's human rights, if my memory fails me halfway through. That is just a risk I'm not willing to take on a stage anymore. But one of the other reasons is it's so goddamn fucking obnoxious. It is so goddamn obnoxious.
Oh, that's the next video I'm going to be doing with Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Jones, is it's the ontological argument. And they take issue with the fact that I say that, like, it's a really simple and stupid argument that is wrapped up in a lot of, technical jargon to make it sound more sophisticated than it is. Mm-hmm. And they get so upset about that, being like, oh my God, just because it uses technical jargon doesn't mean it's wrong. But then at the end of that section, they're like, it's actually a really simple argument. It all comes down to, if it is possible for God to exist, then God exists. Like, that's my fucking point. That is so obviously a flawed argument right there.
It is possible for
me
to rob a bank, therefore I've robbed a bank.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. But the fact that you can simplify it to like one statement like that, whereas everybody else is like using all this jargon about necessity and possible worlds and great making properties and all that shit, when that's not necessary for the argument, you can just distill it down into this one little simple statement. That is my point, is that it's like, when you do that, it's so obviously flawed. So they dress it up in this philosophical jargon that is hard for people to understand.
But it's easy for them to regurgitate a flawed version of it.
But they seem to think that my issue is that because it uses jargon, therefore it must be wrong. But no, absolutely not. Jargon has a purpose. Like, I use jargon. The way I use jargon is that when I'm using a word that I think most people might not be familiar with, the first time I use the word, I explain what that word means. And then every time after that, when I need to use it, I can just use the word, and that makes the conversation more efficient. That is the purpose of jargon, so that everybody who understands the jargon can have a conversation without having to explain these big concepts first.
Yep. That's why when I'm playing Magic the Gathering, there's a bunch of little shorthands that players use that other players get. They're like, oh, I don't have to say tap my creature and attack. I can say swing. Cool.
Sure.
Neat.
I don't know the Magic the Gathering jargon.
You asked me to make a whole video on the Magic the Gathering jargon, and I did.
I don't remember that one. Did you cover swing?
Very likely.
Okay, I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched that. I did watch it.
Thank you? Question mark.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that like the jargon for the ontological argument serves to obfuscate the actual argument.
So
it doesn't
Jordan
make things
Peterson.
clearer. It doesn't make it more efficient. It makes it harder to understand. The fact that it can be said simply in words that everybody gets is my whole point there. But anyway, I haven't even started scripting that one out yet, because it's again, that's not the whole video. It's the ontological argument, which I fucking hate. So like, it's going to take a lot of work to actually do these responses. Mm-hmm. But yeah, okay. Next news article.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.